This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro Insight for September 2025. September is a pivotal month. It taps the brakes on some of the fiery chaos of recent months, but that doesn't mean life will be calmer. Instead of fire and plot twists, we're in for life-altering revelations, high-drama endings, and emphatic resets amid many shifts in mood. The overview. This month has Saturn, planet of adulting and order, leaving self-starting Aries for a final look-round in interconnected Pisces. 2 eclipses, a lunar flushing We Are One Pisces, and solar installing new systems in Fix-It Virgo. 3 fingers of God, funneling attention to how systemic change is affecting communication, then relationships, then action. 2 more grand air trines, setting off a round robin of information, and 6, count 'em, 6 sign changes. The vibe change hits as soon as the month starts. On September 1st, Saturn dips back into Pisces until February. His voyage begins a wrapping up process that will intensify late in the year when Neptune and then Uranus retrograde into Pisces and Taurus. Expect to encounter backwash from March and its pileup of influences at the end of Pisces. That time will be coming back around because of the other overarching factor of the month. The Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is a bit of an answer to March's Virgo lunar eclipse. More is bubbling up from the depths, exposing lies and fraud and washing situations out to sea. After fleshing out comes reorganizing. The solar eclipse on September 21st, at the very last degree of Virgo, adds a cosmic underscoring to the radical fresh starts of August's Virgo new moon. This one is the extreme makeover edition, installing new operating systems that depart from long-standing rules and shoulds. Both eclipses will color the month, upend collective situations, and play out into early next year. Meanwhile, communication channels line up with the reorg. Thinking and messaging adjust to Saturn's return to Pisces. Maybe you learn something that leads to tweaking. And then Virgo's ruler, Mercury, darts into the sign September 2nd, orienting us to details and practicalities and how we might clean up anything and everything. And it's the embodiment of the sign's efficiency. This tour is quick, barely 2 weeks, making up for the protracted visit to Leo during his recent retrograde. Short does not mean uneventful. Shifts in thinking and perspective are an imperative. With Mercury at the receiving end of a yod or finger of God from Neptune and Pluto, while insights and plot twists are flying off a square to Uranus, all September 3rd. Change your thinking, change your life becomes a truism as the month goes on. How safe and secure do you feel? Advocating, and more likely fighting, mushrooms when Mars squares Jupiter in Cancer September 4th. Increased military presence on our soil? Fighting against rising costs of food and more? Time wobbles when quick change artist and awakener Uranus stations retrograde September 6th. He has a few more months of test driving Gemini and will re-enter Taurus late in November. The Pisces lunar eclipse the next day continues the disorientation, bringing up situations from the past only to shut them down. Doors open to a flood of emotional connections as Mercury and the Sun sextile Jupiter September 12th. Mental clarity erupts when Mercury meets the Sun September 13th, then stares down the mess, aka unfinished business, that Saturn is stirring at the end of Pisces September 17th. After which, thinking, communicating, and messaging take off into artful wording and maybe a tad manipulating. Okay, maybe more than a tad. When Mercury enters the intellectual airs of Libra September 18th, his bent for tact and niceties and advocating are with us for the rest of the month and into the first week of October. Plot twists, revelations, and talk flow from one to the other when Mercury forms a grand trine with Uranus and Pluto September 17th through 19th. Watch for more to the story from the grand trine with Mars in early August. This one is grounded in, or fueled by, Neptune in Aries, firing up inspiration and creativity and bold deceit. Radical evolutionary change is all over the news, thinking, and conversations, with Uranus and Pluto completing their trine September 19th. Whatever this unleashes, a crew is on the scene because a cleanup and reorg vibe hits the same day. Venus moves into Virgo and activates fuss budgets, fix-it genes, earth mamas, and boundaries. Cleanup and reorg is her mission, more than ever, because she's the focus of another finger of God from Neptune and Pluto. No chance of dawdling or declining the assignment either, thanks to a square from Uranus that jolts her and us into action. A complete overhaul is the gift of the Virgo new moon September 21st, the second in the sign this year, and a solar eclipse to boot. As new operating systems are installed all around, we get a good long look at the past and the extent of the cleanup task from the moon's opposition to Saturn at the end of Pisces. Dealing with residue from March, anyone? And we're willing to go deeper than you initially think, and for longer. Mars shifts agendas and actions into the dark waters of Scorpio September 21st, at the equinox itself when the sun moves into Libra. We're all probing secrets and scary places, researching intensely and striking with cool efficiency. The motivation and determination persist for the next 3 months since the shift is part of the equinox chart launching the season. And that motivation and determination come across as yet another cosmic mission because Mars is at the receiving end of yet another finger of God from Neptune and Uranus. Deal with the change. Deal with it creatively, boldly. Talk to your guides if you have to. Adding ferocity to the imperative is a square to Pluto, demanding, attacking power issues, some of which have roots in the beginning of November and January when Mars opposed Pluto. It may finally be time to act on something from then. The month ends with one more round robin of energy, an air grand trine whooshing from Uranus in Gemini and his short attention span theater of jolts, surprises, awakenings, and disruptions to the Libra sun, to the evolutionary change Pluto is bringing to Aquarius. Once again, the grounding and the fuel come from Neptune in Aries. Honor your intuition. Follow it. Let it set your mind and mouth on fire. I'm Kathy Beal, a professional astrologer with more than 35 years' experience. Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, to sign up for my mailing list, listen to my weekly podcasts, and book a session with me. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Beal, including sassy, very short daily forecasts, and I'm deeply grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group The Astro Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at @KABeal and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel.